Thank you very much, Jane. Good morning, everyone. My name is Milena Solis. I'm the product manager for Pathway in our DC Physical Infrastructure and Accessory line. And today I want to thank everyone for taking the time to join us to discuss pathways and cable bundling. And I am just going to go through our quick agenda for today. We're going to discuss choosing the correct pathway. We're going to discuss bend radius control, fiber pathways, where we're going to dive into the FiberRunner product line offering, the wire mesh pathways with the Wyr-Grid product line offering. We're also going to discuss some best practices and some recommendations that should be followed when doing installations. And finally, we're going to conclude with bundling to enhance safety with our hook and loop offering. So how do you choose? This is very important. So this is something I definitely do want to highlight, that when you're choosing the correct pathway, you need to consider the types of cables that are going to be used. You need to consider the diameter of the cables. You also need to consider the industry and the type of protection that's going to be needed. And one of the things that I greatly do want to highlight throughout this presentation is the importance of bend radius control. We always recommend to our customers to follow proper bend radius control. You know, the bend radius control rule that we try to highlight is with copper. So with copper, you need to consider the diameter of that cable, and you need to multiply it to a factor of 4. And that is a rule they should follow for that proper bend radius control. Now, when we get into the fiber, that is more critical, and it has you have to take the diameter of the cable and you need to multiply it by a factor of 10. So as we're considering this example that's showcased here below. So if you have a 0.2-inch diameter fiber cable, you need to have a 2-inch bend radius control. And so as we're going into, and we're taking a deeper dive into the product offering, one of the products we are going to highlight is FiberRunner, and that has a 2-inch bend radius control to accommodate for fiber cables. And then I want to dive into bend-insensitive multimode fiber. So with this, there's a perception that you could take a fiber cable, you could bend it around a pencil, and that's fine, but I do want to highlight that it is optically bend tolerant. It is not mechanically bend tolerant. So it's not recommended to take that cable and bend it the way it's sometimes showcased, where the cable is bended around a pencil. It's important to maintain proper bend radius control. And with a fiber trough offering, that is an enclosed surface that doesn't have any openings, similar to, as you would consider a wire basket that does have these openings, that when you're working with fiber cable, it does, since it does have the openings, it is more prone to have those bends. And then at the end of the day, why you're trying to maintain this is because you want your cables to last that lifetime, and you want to be able to mitigate risk as much as possible. So the best selection for fiber cabling is a FiberRunner type product. That's something that is critical, because again, you want to make sure that if you have done the investment with the cable, that the cable is properly protected and housed in the needed system that's needed. And when you're considering, the fiber trough product, you need to consider, the cost and installation labor. You want something that easily goes together. You want to, take care of and minimize, the failures as much as possible. So again, having, the fiber cable in the smooth and closed pathway offering is critical, because at the end of the day, that's really going to maximize that long-term performance. So when we get into the FiberRunner offering, we do have a wide range of size offerings. We range from a 2x2, a 4x4, a 6x4, a 12x4, and a 24x4. And this product offering, it does have a range of fittings, brackets, spill-out options. So again, we've had this product for a substantial amount of time. So, we have a vast number of fittings. Some of the colors the FiberRunner is offered in, it's offered in yellow and black, with again, yellow being the one that's most widely used and most widely seen and recognized for, fiber chop product. And again, just highlighting here the importance of proper bend radius control as you're working with this. And in addition to that, as you're looking at, enhancing security, covers are another, great option for FiberRunner, because again, it does provide that additional safety that's needed. And it does minimize if it's anywhere, any dust or anything possibly as they're working on other layers, any type of tool, anything falling into the pathway itself. And just as we're discussing the FiberRunner offering, I do want to highlight some of the sizes that it comes in. So as we're looking at the 2x2, the 4x4, the 6x4, and the 12x4, it does come in a standard 6-foot length, and it also comes in 2-meter length. As we're looking at that larger pathway, that is offered in a 10-foot length. So again, just highlighting, some of the lengths that it is offered in. And here we wanted to provide some examples on products that should go in the fiber chop product that is in a smooth and closed surface. So as we're looking at patch cords, as we're looking at fiber interconnect cables, as we're looking at fiber trunks, those are perfect examples of cables that need to go in an enclosed pathway. It is not recommended to go into a wire mesh with all the openings that the basket does have. So again, just highlighting some of the critical aspects if you again want to maximize that long-term performance of the cable. And there's specifications out there again that focus on having a dedicated optical pathway for your fiber cable, and that it ensures that it promotes proper bend radius control. Again, just highlighting the need of following proper bend radius control and protecting that cable. And here is where I also wanted to highlight how we could continue to be, that trusted advisor, for our customers. We do want to provide recommendations on the pathway size that they should be looking at. So we like to recommend to do a 25% cable fill for the pathway itself. And you might be considering and thinking, well, that's not very much. Why only a 25% cable fill? Well, we do want to consider that diameter of the cable. There's a lot of openings, as this is a circular, it's a circular diameter. So again, you do have a lot of openings between all the grooves. And with that 25% cable fill, this does leave the room for feature expansion in the future. We have been noticing that, at times customers, do base it on, hey, I want to have my basket full, but then at the end of the day, that could lead to some trouble as, again, future expansion, because then, you don't have that room to add that additional cable. Where, at that point, another layer would be required. And you want to minimize that as much as possible. So again, recommending to have, just a 25% cable fill would be the best recommendation. Again, the max fill is what we're recommending. It's a 50% cable fill, but again, you're really leaving, the possibility of needing that second layer, because again, your pathway is going to be very full, and it's not going to provide, the room to add more cables. And here at the bottom, you're going to find a formula where you could actually calculate the number of cables that would be allowed, in your pathway. So that, again, just highlighting and promoting that it's important to consider, the size of the pathway that's needed, and to recommend that, to just do a 25% cable fill. It's best to have that room for the future. And I wanted to provide, some trends in the field as we're seeing. So we're seeing that, our customers are gravitating towards larger sizes. So we have definitely seen a shift between customers needing that 6-inch and the 12-inch. Again, just leaving that room, as we know, hey, always more data is needed. We have seen, our customers needing those 6-inch and those 12-inch channels more and more. And again, yellow is the preferred option, but we also do have it in the black. So, we've noticed that, some customers are gravitating towards the black. A lot of them, as we're, discussing with them, they do like the black for that nice aesthetic finish in terms of, the cabinets that they're going to have there. If they're going to have another pathway itself, it does provide that nice clean finish with, the black all around. So again, those are two options that we do have, the black and the yellow. And again, just highlighting that there definitely is that need for that higher capacity, and we have started to see the trend for the need for the larger channels. So you might be considering, so why FiberRunner? There are other competitors out there in the marketplace, but we want to really highlight, with the FiberRunner, we are able to provide a 50% labor savings. And you might be wondering, how is that? So, with just to highlight some of, the few advantages that we do, have against others, is that, when we designed our brackets, we wanted to do something that was easy to install for our customers. We understand that, as contractors and as installers are up there on the ladder installing this, it's important that it's easy to install. So with the brackets that we designed, we actually had those clips that we're showcasing, and as you're going to see on the far right, we actually show a picture of somebody just going to the bottom of this and tightening down the bolts. Again, these clips just slide through and they connect to the channel. So again, just one tool does it all to tighten the channel to the brackets themselves. And with some of the brackets that we have a lot of brackets. So again, I do want to highlight that we have brackets for a wire mesh. We have brackets to attach to a ladder rack. So again, we have quite the offering. And in terms of brackets, they are available in all the sizes. So please, as you're doing your design work, feel free to reach out to us if you feel that there's something that we don't have, because we're sure that hey, we could accommodate and find you what's needed. And then some of the other advantages that we do have, that I'm proud to say, that as we're looking at our snap-on covers, so ours are toolless. We have our hinge covers. The one that I'm going to showcase on the left-hand side, that just attaches to the channel with no hardware. So again, those just snap into place. We do have it for all the sizes. We have done quite the investment to provide them for all the sizes. And again, just the easy way that they do install, it provides the additional labor savings. And we also have split hinge covers. So we understand that many times there are height restrictions. So with this hinge cover, with the split hinge cover that we do offer, a customer is just able to slide their hand through it, and it doesn't require a lot of space, up above. So again, just ways to enhance and ways to offer that labor savings that is much needed. And again, we want to make our product as intuitive as possible. When we're discussing FiberRunner, we do get to say that, FiberRunner is like Legos. We have pieces that just snap into place, that it just easily goes together. And the picture that I'm showcasing on bottom, it actually shows, the cover just, how it could easily, there's one thing that I do want to highlight. So even with our hinge covers that we do have, they could actually be open and set to be open in different intervals. So as you're seeing that picture, it could be set between 15, 30, so it could be set in different degrees, and it'll stay in that location. So now I'm going to discuss, where do you hold large diameter fiber and copper cable? So we discussed the importance of having a proper pathway for smaller fiber diameter cables. Now, what do we do with the rest of the cables? So we do recommend that, for those larger diameter cables, for the copper cables, it is perfectly reasonable to install them on a wire mesh pathway. And when you're considering, what's the wire mesh pathway that I should go with, you want to consider the strength of the basket itself. You want to consider, the amount of cables, the load ratings, and then you want to consider, hey, the flexibility of the design. How easy is it going to be for me to expand in the future? Part of this, as you're looking at a wire mesh design, the ease of installation. We understand that, again, contractors, installers are installing this on top of ladders. We want to be able to minimize as much as possible the labor that's involved when installing these baskets. So Panduit, with its unique design, is able to offer customers a 50% labor savings as compared to a traditional wire mesh and a ladder rack system. So I do want to highlight, our basket design. A traditional basket is more of your U-shaped design. Well, with the wire mesh, ours is actually an inverted basket. Many times, I'll have customers jokingly say, your basket is upside down. And, that's how, our conversation starts where, Panduit did see out there in the marketplace that with the traditional baskets, there was that great labor, and then that, those additional risks that, as you're cutting a lot of the wire, there's that possibility of leaving a sharp edge or a burr out there. So we wanted to minimize that as much as possible by doing an inverted basket. And with this inverted basket, we're able to maintain a lot of the strength versus, a traditional basket. Part of where we get, a lot of where we're able to maintain our strength is that we do not require our customers to do a lot of the cutting out in the field. So as I'm showcasing here, you're going to see a window here. We're actually showcasing an intersection on a 90-degree. We don't require our customers to cut into a sidewall. We actually have some intersection splices that you could add another basket size very easily, and this is done in a matter of less than a minute, as opposed to a traditional basket where you would have to cut that sidewall, and then you would have to prepare for it accordingly, and most importantly, make sure you don't have any of those sharp edges and those burrs. Another feature that we do have in our basket is that we do have larger openings on the basket itself. And what does that provide? So with the larger openings, you don't have to do that extensive cutting. So let's say you're going to install, some sort of waterfall, some sort of way to exit down on the cables. We actually have waterfalls that easily snap into place as we're showcasing here. Even with our openings themselves, you can actually have a cassette go straight through the opening with no cutting required. And a lot of our the majority of our accessories are snap-on accessories. So again, no tools required on this. It is very intuitive when you would pick up a product, you would just see, this just snaps right into the basket, minimizing that labor of having to tighten a bolt, or making sure that it's properly taken care of. And again, there's, fewer supports that are required. And again, because of the less cutting that's required, we are able to minimize on some of the supports. The more cutting you do, the more you have to support the basket to make sure that you're able to carry, your load. So here, I do want to showcase a quick little video on an intersection. We're going to do a 90-degree intersection, and you're going to actually see how easy it is to install a 90-degree intersection. We have our intersection splice connectors. You saw that a person was able to add another pathway, and then now they're just tightening the bolts. And I do want to mention that as they're tightening the bolts, they're getting a proper grounding surface. That screw is actually scraping into the paint to make sure that we have that we're electrically bonded. And again, the contractor, the installer didn't have to muddle around with a lot of loose hardware. The hardware was there. They're just tightening down bolts, and they were able to get a 90-degree intersection in less than a minute. That just goes to showcase how we were able to minimize a lot of that labor. There was no cutting involved, no loose hardware. So again, this is how we're able to get to that 50% labor savings. And here is another unique feature to our Wyr-Grid offering, our side splice installation. So again, here we're making sure that we're bonding two sections of the pathway, and we're also ensuring that we have an electrically bonded pathway. Again, that bolt is scraping into the paint, and now after that's done, as you saw, the installer was able to do that in less than a minute. This was able to ensure that, again, a properly bonded pathway. Again, no meddling with, some loose hardware. It was done in less than a minute. And as we're discussing, the complementary offering, so we do have brackets to mount FiberRunner and Wyr-Grid that would make it a very easy install. So now installers don't have to meddle around and say, what bracket do I have to use with my unique design, because I am using a product from one different manufacturer, and then I'm using another manufacturer. So those usually do get a little more difficult. But if you're using the complete solution, we do have all the necessary bracketry. So again, just to highlight the advantages of using both a FiberRunner and a Wyr-Grid offering. And I do want to say, in a lot of locations, you do need multiple tiers. So again, just highlighting the advantages of having a wire mesh with the FiberRunner offering. Panduit is the one-stop shop, and it does make the lives of our customers much easier, in a sense that, we do have a complete solution for them. And I wanted to go into some of the best practices. So as you're going on the web and looking for those much needed design tools, we do have Visio, we do have Revit shapes, we have CAD designs that are out there that are readily available to our customers. We have had FiberRunner and our Wyr-Grid offering for quite some time now, so all the shapes are readily available. And if there isn't any, if you for some reason cannot find the shapes, please reach out to us, and we'd be more than happy to assist with any type of questions that you might have. But again, those shapes are readily available, because again, we understand the importance as you're doing the designs, those layouts in Visio and Revit. Those are much needed tools that are needed for our customers. And here I wanted to provide some opportunities to say, when you're designing with a FiberRunner product, what would be the best fittings that could be used that would provide that greater flexibility. So the ones that I'm showcasing here on the far right, those are our spillover options. So those spillover options are some of the most favorite ones that we have out there for our customers. And the reason that this is so is because, let's say you've done the design layouts, you realize that, well, I need cable access at this location, and I didn't plan for it. So with these spill out options, these could be added in any location of the channel. And it doesn't matter the size of the channel that you're using. These go with a 4, a 6, a 12, and a 24. They, again, could be added in any location. We do have a bracket that easily allows it to slide across the channel. So again, when you're looking at, some of the best options out there, these spillover junctions that we do offer do provide, a great amount of flexibility, and are greatly preferred by our customers. Now, we understand that, there's high restrictions as we're showcasing here on this picture. So, right above the FiberRunner, we see that, there was a need to have a ladder rack. We also see that, there was a high restriction problem. We understand that, space is a critical thing in any type of data center. So by having a different type of fitting, such as we're calling our vertical T, this provides, it is flat with the channel. So again, that high restriction is not a problem. So one thing I do want to highlight when we're working with such fittings, these do have to be planned ahead. So again, as you're doing your design layouts and you realize that, I do have high restrictions, these vertical tees and a lot of the other fittings do have to be planned ahead and designed, before completing the installation. So you could be set accordingly. But again, this vertical tee that we do offer, it does provide, that great image that it is flushed against the channel. So again, just, that aesthetic finish that, I have everything flushed against the channel, it does provide that. And again, it takes care of, any type of height restriction. And here's where I wanted to get into some of the FiberRunner support locations. So as you're considering how often should I support my FiberRunner, we recommend that our customers support every 5 feet. So these are best practices to follow. And when you have a joiner, such as what we're calling our coupler, what we're showcasing here, so those you should have a bracket within 6 inches. So again, we just want to highlight, ways to properly support your channel. And these are, definitely recommendations that we're making and to, definitely consider. We understand that, at times it's not always possible. You might have something in the way, but again, these are just best practices to follow. And with Wyr-Grid, we recommend that, as you're considering, the safe working loads, you really need to consider, how often am I going to support my basket would depend on, really how much cable you should carry in. The more you spread out these supports, the less cable support that is going to be able to offer. And here I wanted to move into, quickly before we end, I wanted to highlight, the importance of bundling. Especially when you're putting product into a wire mesh basket, when, there's a lot of cutting going involved, you want to make sure that you're bundling the cable. By bundling the cable, you're able to provide, pretty much, larger diameter cable there, in the sense that it does provide that protection, and you're also able to maintain it and push it away from any sharp edge or burr. So I want to discuss, Panduit does also provide hook and loop material. So it is different from our competitors, as we have improved material. Our material is actually of a higher tensile strength. We're able to maintain strength at higher temperatures. So when you're considering your needs for hook and loop, we are able to maintain our strength at higher temperatures. So let's say, hey, you're in a VED cabinet, you don't have to worry that you're going to lose any type of strength with our hook and loop offering. And again, just highlighting the importance that, this hook and loop could also provide traceability, because you could have hook and loops of various colors that could actually designate, this is the type of cable that I have and this is what it's for. You could actually use different colors, again, to provide that traceability, and it helps to protect your cable, because again, that investment that's done on cable is quite substantial, where just being able to provide that additional protection of properly bundling, it's something that could easily be done at a minimal price. And at this point, this does conclude, the presentation for today. I know I'm gonna hand it over to Jane for any questions.
Thanks, Melina. We actually had a few questions come in. The first question was whether we were going to send a copy of the PowerPoint, which I will do. I'll send that in the follow-up email, which will also have the recording of the webinar. Some other questions that we had come in. This first one, is there a fill rate capacity chart I can gain access to?
Yes, there is. And we actually, that is provided on our catalog. So you could actually go on the web and you'll be able to, we do have charts based on the sizes of the channel. And those are tables that are right at the beginning of, and as we're discussing our complete offering. So those are readily available. And if for some reason you can't find it, please feel free to reach out to me. I did include my email here as well.
Oh, great. The second question here. Is there an issue or issues installing PAN-MPO and OM4 cables installed on Wyr-Grid?
Well, we always recommend to, consider the diameter of it, and ever any questions, I know with the Wyr-Grid, we also do have liners. So in order to provide that additional protection, you always do have the option of having those liners there. If, FiberRunner is not an option, just having a liner there does cover you from those openings.
Okay. Are you planning to provide white color for the FiberRunner?
It is something that we have been considering. So we're at this point we do not have this offering, but it is something that we are considering. But to this point, we only do have it in yellow and in black.
Okay. The next question is, can we lay copper cables on the fiber raceways?
Yes, you do. You can. There's no reason why you couldn't lay any of the copper cable on the raceway. Again, as we're looking at the diameter, it does have a more permissible, bend radius control. You could definitely lay, copper on a FiberRunner raceway.
Okay. I know we're a little over on time here. I'll do a couple more of these questions. The basket splice kit grounding, do they all come with green bolts?
Yes, they do. So that is just, one of the things I do want to highlight when you do order any of those splices, those intersection splices, they do come with the hardware attached, and it's just about tightening down that bolt, and then you have an electrically bonded pathway. So that is a great feature that we're able to offer, minimize that labor.
Okay. Is the fiber raceway LSFRZH rated? Let me know if you need me to repeat that.
Okay, so at this point, there is no low smoke zero halogen for this LSCH is low smoke zero halogen for a raceway. There are no specifications on that. So,
okay.
That's something I do want to highlight. When we're looking at FiberRunner and specifications, we always recommend to our customers to follow specifications such as flammability, such as UL 94V0, and follow other standards like UL 2024. And definitely, if there's any additional questions on specifications we recommend customers should look at, please feel free to email me.
Okay. Can Wyr-Grid be used for power cables?
We would have to, you'd have to really consider that. Yes, it can be used for power cables, but again, we just want to be careful in terms of the load ratings and how much it could support.
Okay. Last question here. Do you provide special training for the installation of raceways?
We do have an installation. We do have training on the web, and I'm sure you can reach out to our partners portal, or please reach out to me as well. And we could definitely connect you accordingly. We also have some web training that could be done. So again, just please feel free to email me, and we could definitely provide additional information.
Okay. Well, we are a little over on time here, so I'm going to go ahead and conclude the webinar. Thank you so much for your time and your questions today.
Thank you very much to everyone that joined us. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.